I woke up earlier than usual, before the sun had fully decided what it was going to do, and the apartment felt unusually still. Not peaceful, just still. The kind of quiet that feels like it's waiting for something.
My name is Thomas. I'm 76 years old. That number still surprises me when I say it out loud. It doesn't feel like something I earned. It feels like something that arrived while I was looking the other way. There are things you carry for so long that they stop feeling heavy. They just become part of your posture, the way you stand, the way you answer questions without really answering them. For most of my life, I thought silence was neutral. I thought it was safe. I thought it meant patience or maturity or restraint. I was good at it. People used to say that about me. Thomas is steady. Thomas doesn't overreact. You can count on him. And I liked that. I built a whole life around being the person who didn't make things complicated. I worked the same job for 32 years. I stayed married for 24. I raised one son who calls me every Sunday evening right on time. We talk about practical things, his back, my blood pressure, whether the winters are worse than they used to be. He asks how I'm feeling. I say I'm fine. He believes me. That's how it usually goes. When I think back, the moments that return aren't the loud ones. They're the pauses, the spaces where something almost happened. My wife, Ellen, used to hum while she folded laundry. Not loudly, just enough to let you know she was there. Toward the end of our marriage, the humming stopped. I noticed it, but I didn't say anything. I assumed it was temporary, fatigue, a phase. I told myself that if something was wrong, she'd bring it up. She didn't. There was a night, I remember it clearly because of how ordinary it was. The dishes were done. The television was on, but neither of us was watching it. Ellen sat on the edge of the couch and stared at the floor longer than usual. I could feel something in the room shifting. I could feel it the way you feel weather coming. She opened her mouth like she was going to speak, then she closed it again. I waited. Eventually, she stood up and went to bed. I told myself I'd ask her in the morning. I didn't. That pattern repeated itself in small, forgettable ways. Questions I swallowed, observations I dismissed, feelings I assumed would resolve on their own if left alone long enough. Silence felt respectful. It felt like giving space. What I didn't understand was that space, unattended, doesn't stay empty. It fills with guesses, with distance, with stories no one corrects. Years later, after Ellen moved out, after the papers were signed, and the house felt too large for just one person, I tried to replay everything in my mind, like a film I could pause and fix. I kept stopping on moments where I could have spoken, where I could have asked a simple question and changed the direction of the room. But life doesn't work like that. You don't get to reopen a moment once everyone has already left it. My son was 16 the first time I saw the same silence forming in him. He stood in the doorway of the kitchen, backpack still on, pretending to look for something to drink. I knew that posture, the hesitation, the way he shifted his weight like he was waiting for permission he didn't know how to ask for. He said, "Can we talk later?" I was tired. I'd had a long day. I didn't want to get it wrong. So I said, "Sure, another time." We never found that time. I don't remember what he wanted to talk about. That's what haunts me. I remember the way his shoulders dropped. I remember how quickly he learned to keep things to himself after that. I taught him that lesson without meaning to. Back then, I still believed silence was harmless, that it protected people from discomfort, that words once spoken couldn't be taken back, but silence could always be filled in later. What I didn't realize was that later isn't a guarantee, it's a gamble. As the years passed, silence became my second language. I spoke it fluently at work, at home, in friendships that slowly faded without a single argument to explain why. People didn't leave me dramatically, they just stopped reaching. And I told myself that was normal, that it was what adulthood looked like. It wasn't until I started spending more time alone, real alone, the kind where days blur together, that I began to hear what the silence was actually saying. It wasn't calm. It was crowded.
When you're younger, silence feels like something you control. When you're older, it starts to feel like something that's been waiting for you. After Ellen died, years after our divorce, quietly, the way she did most things, I went to the small service they held. I stood near the back. I didn't feel like I had the right to stand closer. There were people there who knew parts of her I never asked about. That thought stayed with me longer than the grief. I went home afterward and sat in my chair until the light changed in the room. I kept thinking about that night on the couch, about her almost speaking, about how I had confused restraint with care. The truth didn't arrive all at once. It never does. It came in fragments, in the way my son's voice sounds careful now, in the way friends from my past exist only as names I recognize but no longer feel connected to, in the way I rehearse conversations that will never happen. I used to think that saying nothing avoided damage, that it kept relationships intact. But what it really did was freeze them in place. Nothing broke, nothing healed. Everything just stayed unfinished. There's a cost to that, not a dramatic one, a quiet one. You don't notice it while it's happening. You notice it when there's no one left to clarify things with, when the only witness to your intentions is you, and even you aren't sure anymore. These days my mornings are slow. I sit at the table with my coffee and let the room be quiet without trying to distract myself from it. I don't turn on the radio right away. I don't reach for my phone. I listen. Sometimes memories come. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I say things out loud just to hear what they sound like, now that there's no one left to interrupt. There's a question I never asked Ellen. It's simple, painfully simple. I won't say it here, not because it's a secret, but because it belongs to a moment that's already gone. I ask it now sometimes to the empty room, not because I expect an answer, because it deserves to exist somewhere outside my head. If there's one thing I've learned this late, it's that silence isn't empty. It's full of whatever you refuse to touch, and it doesn't dissolve on its own. It waits, patiently, faithfully. I don't know who this is meant for. Maybe it's just for me. Maybe it's for anyone who's been holding back a question because it feels safer that way. If you're listening, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to explain why this landed where it did. You can just sit with it for a moment. That's enough.